Gladys, the owner, Goodridge Dennis from Cruiserville, Monrovia, Liberia, was married in 1970 to Alfonso E. Dennis. My parents, Amos B. Goodridge and Gopher Garway, but I lived with my uncle Jonathan E. Goodridge and Miss and Comfort Simpson Goodridge from age 4 till I got married. And my grandparents, Nancy Caroline Goodridge Padmore, my granddaddy James D. Goodridge and Jacob Padmore, to my uncle Jonathan E. Goodridge, as from 4 years old, and I lived in my cousin Pa Goodridge. And we lived in Monrovia on Carey Street, but went up on weekends for church in Cruiserville. But when we went up on Sundays, we would go to for church, we would go to grandma's house, and she would have these collard greens. I mean, it was boiled collard greens, but it was so delicious. And she would make this pepper pie. Oh man, the pepper pie was delicious. And I didn't remember as much, but we had fun at grandma's house. All the kids were there, Emmett, Nancy, were all together, and other kids that lived there. And we just served after service, we would go to a house and eat that collard greens and white beans, and that. I really thought about the pepper pie because I like her pepper pie. It was delicious, and I even made it once. And that was it. Every Sunday we come and go. We come from church, we go to grandma's and eat something special and she cooks herself outside. They had a kitchen outside. Then when she did her cooking, and she had boys living with her, but she did the cooking herself. And I remember everything there out of the house. Everybody went to the dining room, and we called it the piazza. We went to the piazza downstairs, then we did the dining room. Everybody ate at the table, and we just had fun as kids. And Patty used to do, when we spent time, we were going for dinner and I was spending time, we spent time with grandma, and somebody that used to like to take all the sugar and eat the sugar. So Patty said, okay, you know what, we eat this. Who took the sugar? Who drank the milk, the carnation milk? Oh, and everybody said, no, I didn't do it. No, I didn't do it. But Patty would come in his diamond. He had a gold ring. He put a strand of hair on that gold ring and get a glass of water. And he said, by St. Peter, by St. Paul's, by the great God that made us all. And that ring would start going bang. And he called your name. He called individual names. And each time he called a name, the person who took that sugar or took that milk, that ring would start going bang, bang, bang. And we knew it did it every time, but so we said, oh, got you. So that's how, I remember that. We enjoyed that at his house. And we used to go in the backyard and get on the rubber. We had rubber swings. Now modern days they have swings, but we had the rubber, the tires. We do the tires, we get in there and swing back and forth. They had some cocoa tree in the backyard and some mango plums. And we get that, and she used to make jelly too. Grandma used to make some plum jelly from the plums from the backyard and the cocoa tree and the rubber, but we just swing and go down to the creek and get some water. And I was much bigger then, a little bigger, because when we spent time with her with Parkridge and she went to Germany once, and they left us there with her, and we stayed with them. And Joseph Goodridge, they were bigger boys then. When the boys cook, they would cook and give us. Joseph was a cook. He would take he had breadfruit and rice, but he would give us all the breadfruit and a spoon of rice, and he would take all the rice and put all his soup that be at the bottom of his rice. And then we come to look, he said, what happened? I don't have any meat on my food. He said, I don't have any meat myself. He had the meat at the bottom, and we just had one little piece of meat with all breadfruit. So I turned against breadfruit because we had breadfruit soup, breadfruit dumper, breadfruit. I said, no, that was too much, but it was fun. But he used to really give us a hard time when it comes to serving us when grandma was in there. And when we spent time we had a bed. I think we were 5 in a bed because all the kids would go, everybody had went to spend time after 5 years left us there, and we had this straw bed. So we had to take straw, you got the straws, you put the straw in the bed. So every morning you get up, you have to put your hand there and make your bed up to make that bed. And it had to be smooth, just like you see this bed. I remember that is coming back, and we made up that bed, and our room was right when we entered the house, the first room, and there was a dining room. And grandma had her room, Patty had his own room. Those days, the man, his wife had separate rooms. And there was a bathroom upstairs, and then we had the bathroom outside. And we had guavas. Oh, we have bread nuts. We had, we had, what else we had? We had the red guavas and the pink guava, the white guavas. And we had those little white apples. We go to church on Sunday. We grab the little, tiny apples that small. And also everybody grabbing to go get apples. I was where the time I spent with grandma, she was kind of caring. She was a very organized lady, very gentle, very soft. She had a time when she had to be stern, she was stern. Patty didn't do much. He didn't say much. He was just he was just there, but he was not. He said what he had to say, but not. He was not overly aggressive. He was humble. He was kind. He passed away his cigar. So he had his cigar going, and he and Nancy would hang. Whatever they did, we didn't know, but he was a humble man too, and he was gentle. And we didn't see in those days. We didn't see affection, but we knew they loved each other. But Patty slept in his room, and Grandma slept in her room. So we don't know what they did at night, but they slept in different separate rooms. When sometimes you need one bed made up, and the other bed not slept in. So we don't know, but they had separate rooms, and but she was a very, very quiet and very caring. She was not partial. She didn't treat anybody, like some grandparents would treat, say, oh, no, no. She treated all of us the same way, even those who lived with her. And she was always dressed. She was not a snappy old lady. And I never remember being old, but she was always dressed. She was probably always dressed, well maintained. She had her little low cut hair. She was always a pleasant person. She was a sweet lady. I was 4 years old. And my daddy, I don't know what happened. I don't know the arrangements they made, but my mother had me, and apparently my daddy said, Amos said he was going to give me to his oldest brother. His oldest brother had no children by his wife, but he had kids. So, and being a girl, and he had no girls, he had boys. He said I was going to give Gladys to my brother, being he's the oldest brother, that they all looked up to the oldest brother, respected the older brother. And whatever the older brother said, when he even took care of my father, Pa Goodridge. And we called him Pa Goodridge because of our neighbor. There was a neighbor in the Langleys that would live on Kerry Street. They called him Pa Goodridge. So that's how we started calling him Pa Goodridge. And they called my daddy, because my daddy was their godpa. So they called my daddy godpa. So we started calling my daddy godpa, and I called my uncle Pa Goodridge. So that's, and living there, as I lived there for 4, and I was the youngest until when I got a cousin Comfort Hammer, and we lived together until Loris came in. But I was still the youngest, and I had to do all the hard. I was the one who I knew how to organize. I'm not breaking myself, but I was the one who wanted to organize him. When Auntie got sick, I was still with her because she had seizures. So I was still with her when they didn't go to school. And she liked me for that. So everybody said, oh, she liked that. It's still, but no, because I put up with her. I took care of her, even though I was the youngest. Dolores were 3 girls. So we got Ruth. But Ruth apparently she did things that they didn't like, so Ruth left. So they all stayed there. We all stayed. Pagrish was, he was a nice man, but he was business minded. And he didn't say much. He would say, he would speak, but not as, like, Auntie took authority over whipping us and disciplining, because he would say less. And what did he do? He would, he always liked, he would play with us. I remember, I think he used to play with us when we were small, but he never chastised us. Until once in a while, if we did something, he would, when he wanted to put it, did us every week we had a whipping. And what else? We lived on Kerry Street, and the house was called Sarah's house. And Goodridge was renting on the upstairs. We rented the whole upstairs, and we had to go outside. We didn't have bathroom in the house. We had to go outside to use the restroom. As I'm getting older now, because I lived there I was 4 years old, now I'm getting older. We went to God. We went to school. I went to Assembly of God. And we used to walk to school and come back, and then we had the bathroom. Like I said, we would come from school. Every month you had to get a tuition from Goodridge, and he would give us a tuition. We had a cab. We had a cab company, had a transportation business, and it was named LMT. The owner, Martha Tani. The owner for Gladys. My name is the owner. Martha for In Comfort, and Tani was for Comfort, and Custody Comfort's niece. So that's why you had the cabs. He bought 18 cabs. After we got a little older, I had to cook. I was in a kindergarten, from kindergarten. Then when I got a little higher, older, I had to do the cooking, and I had to cook. We had to cook on the outside. I mean, not on the outside. We had to cook on. We didn't have a stove, but we come downstairs on the fire and make a fire thing. That's why I said I don't want to go in. It's a long story, but we had to cook downstairs, and you cooking, and you can imagine you have to come from school. And you have to put the wood and put this and blow the that. Then finally he got a kerosene stove. That was a big disaster. That each time the kerosene would, so it got to be a problem. So anyway, we used to, after we left downstairs, went to the kerosene store, and we started cooking the kerosene. So it's a buy kerosene. If you didn't remind them to buy, like you're buying the propane tank now, so you have the kerosene container, and that worked. But each time, if something happens, and something about the kerosene, the flame will explode, and everybody get nervous. And let me see, and we did that. And then I used to do laundry. We did laundry for 3 days a week. So in the beginning, they were kind of, strict on us because they didn't, I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but it was so strict. But then in the end, he was like leveling up. In the beginning, we we're not allowed to go downstairs, but living upstairs. You meet you downstairs, you're going to be whipped. What are you doing downstairs? You have to stay upstairs. So when somebody used to call us Jailhouse Rock, it's like, one male person used to call Jailhouse Rock. Go to do steps and look to the window. So you couldn't come downstairs. When you get that car coming board, you say, put help the body. You're going upstairs. Yeah. While when we're living in Monrovia, the house was in Crystal already built. But he renovated the house, but he built the house in Crystal. So we used to go up on the weekends to go to church. We stay at the house. But on Sunday, they would go to grandma to eat. But we stay at the house, and we went to grandma's house to eat on Sundays after. Every Sunday, every weekend, on Friday, we packed our car to go to Crystalville every Friday night after school and work. Come into work, We got in the car on Friday evening, drove up to Crystalville, and came back Sunday night for work and school on Monday morning. So we had the house was already built. And like I said, it had 4 bedrooms. The room for the kids, the room for my dad. He gave us, my godpa, he had a room there for my dad. He had a room for guest room. They had their room. And we lived up there, like I said, only when we went on vacation and for the weekends. And it was a beautiful place. We used to play in the yard at nighttime when the moon was bright. And we played tree drop it. And rolled around the roses. We did that. We play hopscotch. What do you call it? Hopscotch. We play hopscotch. We did all. We jumped ropes. We did all kinds of things. And we had a big yard. It was a big yard, the front yard. But when we were not allowed to stay outside too long. But when the moon was bright, we'd be out there and we would have fun. And we were down. The house had a basement. He didn't finish the basement, so we used to be down there playing sometimes in the basement of the house. And it was a little bit of fun too. We had fun there too. But other girls, 3 girls living together, everybody got this own agenda. We're fussing and picking it, but we still got along. Yes, and I was not allowed to press our hair. But when God small was small, even when God looked bigger, we're not allowed to press our hair. So that's what we did in Crystalville. But then we're going back to the house on Kerry Street. So we only live at the top upstairs, and Mansura lived downstairs, the owner of the house, and we live upstairs. And I was pressing somebody's hair. I thought about pressing who hair one day. I was pressing, I think somebody's hair. You're not supposed to do it. You're not supposed to do it so you get in trouble, right? And I see the tail of the platform mistakenly hit the girl somewhere. Boy, I said, oh boy, I was pressing my hair. Yeah. And the person was behind. I didn't know the girl was behind me. And that person hit the person somewhere in the face. So when they comes home, right? You know what's going to happen, right? Oh boy. I said, my goodness. So I said, she said, did I tell you to ever press your hair? If I ever find that person put me your hand again, I'll burn your fingers and your hair. So that's what happened with that, yes. So we're not allowed to press our hair. We're not allowed to wear pants. Father didn't allow to wear pants. He didn't like pants. He never liked pants. So the only time we wore pants, we went to school for PE. And with those shorts right there, leave your pants. So you come home, you come in your skirt and blouse, or not those shorts. So he didn't allow his wife to wear pants, so we didn't wear pants. And I wore, when I was small, I'm going back, we wore cotton drawers. And the neighbors just said, man, I'll tell you, and they had this, they didn't make us the cotton panties and the cotton slip. And so the neighbor, you know, her kids like, oh, mommy, those children wear pants every day. I said, to comfort Martha Simpson, his wife, Goodridge. And they got married in the United States of America. She was here during her nursing and beauty school, and they got married in America. And like, I didn't know her until I said I only met her when I was 4 years old. So I didn't know her until I met her at 4 years old. My mom lived in the same yard, and they lived down the same yard where we lived, where the house was on Goodridge Street. We were in the same yard. My mother, my grandfather, my grandmother. It was bittersweet. And they went to London and bought an interior. And you know, I worked so hard for my own wedding. I said I was never gonna get married. Maybe that's why I didn't get married again. I had to scrub the floor, I had to clean the windows, I had to help mix the cake, because the soup would make the rest of the cake. But I had to do all of that. I said, you know what, I ain't getting married. In fact, I was the work for my own wedding, and I did the same. So I didn't, but she made it, the Alfonso proposed. So I met him on Kerry Street, and we went out, and he proposed, and he came to London, he came to America, he went back, and everybody said, he's not coming. I said, why he wouldn't come back? I said, oh, he'll come back. But then when he came back, we're getting married, and my dress was made by Honest King. And they brought the fabric from London, and Honest King made me. I helped with the dress. And so we got dressed at the house in Crystalville. Comfort was at the house helping me. Comfort had just come from America, Comfort Goodridge Lawrence. And I was getting dressed, and she said, aren't you going to put on? I said, makeup. I don't need any makeup. She said, you got to put on something. I said, for what? I don't need it. So she just put on, she said, come here. So she put a little bit of lipstick on my lip. I said, I didn't wear any makeup at that time. So she just put a little bit of lipstick on my lip. And then I went and we got married. We waited for Al. We drove down to the church. Everybody sitting in the church that day. He's in Monrovia. He's coming up, car broke down. And Romeo Horton was bringing him up. And he told Mr. Horton, please don't blow. Mr. Horton got it. Beep, 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 beep. Everybody said, so you were 2 hours late. And everybody said, I said, he came from America. Why wouldn't come all the way to Preserve, you know? But we got. To me, I think it was like a fairy tale. I wasn't into it like that. You know, it's like, you know, you're young and so I didn't think about to say, but it was like a fairy tale to me. I didn't even remember what I ate. I knew what I wore, but I don't remember what I ate. And then we spent the honeymoon at my dad's house. So my Amos Bridges' house. It's right next to Park Bridges' house. And we spent the night there for the honeymoon. And we stayed for 2 weeks, then we came to America. Papa Townsend, you know, Pa Townsend, Regina Townsend, Romeo Horton, and who else? That's all I really know. That who came to the house, really, Regina Townsend, Papa Townsend, we were like brothers. And his brothers were mostly, but those two men I knew. And me and Mr. Horton were very close. And Papa Townsend, yeah. And, I mean, he had a lot of people, but those are the two I really knew him. Yeah, those like his brothers. He was defense secretary. He was interior secretary. He was brigadier general. And what else? I think when I left, I think he got other positions when I left. I think it was local government too. But when I left, he was defense. When I stayed, he was defense secretary. I said, well, can you imagine at that time, you know, we did the Easter program. You had to speak, you know, do recitations and do solo. It was good, but it was daunting, it was scary, it was frightening. Because you know everybody, you're a child and you're nervous, but we had to do it. So we had our programs and we had choir rehearsals. I was in the choir and Mr. Roman Morris, our instructor. And we did, what songs we did? Some of the same songs we sang. I was singing one the other day. There is a fountain filled with blood, And oh, I forget, but just lots of good songs we sang. I'm still singing today, but it was a good time. And we used to mingle with the other family members, the Weeks, the Ports, and Tisha Beck. They were all there at church with us. Sister Beck had 2 daughters, and I mean, it was just when we get to church, it was just a fun thing. Everybody got together. Our church was Reasonable Memorial Methodist Church. It is still there. And after church, everybody get in the yard. Like I said, we'll pick those apples, those white apples. When we got older, everybody got you just say hi and leave. But it was fun at church. Church was beautiful. The preachers, we had several preachers. We had Monroe Weeks. We had Miss Nance. We had who else? But mostly, I think Cousin Monroe was the most I remember. Jonathan Goodridge and his brother's relationship were superb. Those men respected the older brother. Any decisions they made, they went to Jonathan first. They did not make decisions on their own. They were like, just what it is. They respected him, even though even if he was wrong, they did not disrespect him. They made him feel like he was the one in charge, but they all respected and loved one another. They didn't take advantage of each other. Maybe he had 1 or 2 there who were a little bit jealous, but that's all right. But they didn't bring it to him, and he didn't show it. Look, when I got married, all of them, they asked who gave this woman to this man. All the brothers stood up. But Charlie wasn't there. Why? I don't know, but he wasn't the only one wasn't there. But all the other brothers, they all stood up in the guinea tail. So that's how to show how close they were. If they wanted to buy a vehicle or do anything, they asked the brother decision before they did it. Because they knew he was a teacher. Jonathan was an instructor before he became a minister of defense and brigadier general, all the other, but he was an instructor at CWA. He taught math. Yeah, he taught math at CWA. I heard that part. I remember that. Stern, but it made me a stronger woman. It's impacted my life in so many ways. I mean, at first, I wonder sometimes why the struggle, but it made me who I am today. I respect them and I love them for what they did. And God knew they had good intentions, but they didn't know how to show it. Only in the end, they showed it, but they didn't know how to show it in the beginning. Because when I came to America, and I sent my picture, when I came to America, after I got married, I came to America and sent my picture to each other. So he said to me, he said, "What, you wearing pants now?" I said, "But it's cold. What you want me to do? Want me to keep my feet cold?" And he came and he came over for some trip. And Aberdeen was born, my first child. And we went to the hotel, but he couldn't come into town because he had a quick business trip. He had to go back. So we went to the airport and we met him at the airport at the hotel. And he said, "I'm going to take this child home because this place is not good for her. You don't want to be here. This place is not good for this child. I'm going to take this child home." And he said, but I knew he was kidding, but he didn't like us being in America. He didn't like us being in America, he said, because this place is not good. Because apparently they knew better. And before he died, he renovated the basement of this house. The house in Christopherville. And he put 2 bedrooms in there, apartment. He had a stove, everything. He said, I'm fixing that place for you and Al to come home. When you come home, you can live here until your bill. That's what he did. That's what he had planned for us to do, to come and live there. After living, then we can get established. And we have plans to come. We bought parts. I started buying our parts, our things to come home and still. But then after that, what happened? The coup took place. And so we just froze and say, you know what? We just stay here. But he didn't want us to come to America. Yes, and my dad lived with him too. He sent my dad to college. Yeah, he sent my dad to college. And my dad lived for him. Do better for ourselves and appreciate them and appreciate what we have and appreciate us, show our kids to do better than, even do better than our ancestors did. Our ancestors did the best they could. And they laid a groundwork for us to be able to be something and somebody. And they taught us the word. Most of them, that's how we're brought up in the word. Because without the word, you can do nothing. We knew the word, we knew who God was. And without God, we can do anything. So let the kids know that without Jesus Christ, you are lost. So that's how our ancestor impacted our lives in many ways.